Okay,
Uh-oh.
folks, we are live. For those of you who get on early, you will understand that we do some background stuff. Just to remind you, before we go formal, some insider's perspective. One of the things I'd like to mention, first off, welcome. Hope everybody had a pleasant weekend. But again, one of the things I like to mention is that Tommy and I don't rehearse this before the fact because we want it to be real and spontaneous and hopefully engaging. Number one. Number two, this movie talked about Queen's Gambit. It's on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, you may very well want to consider it. And without giving away too much of it, part of the chess play at the world national level that sometimes one can take breaks during the game if it's been a long time period. And what I didn't know about this is that oftentimes that the people will go back and go to their team to help them out for the next move coming up. Well, the reason I don't rehearse with Tom is because I don't want to give him the chance to rehearse with his team to give him some sense of stamina and
That's
quality
it.
of play here. So that's why we don't rehearse. Now, for those of you who come in even during the live episode or the post production episode who look at us through YouTube, we've gotten comments that people aren't able to comment back on us like they would with Facebook and like they would with LinkedIn. But what you have to do to comment, and we hope you do, is to sign into YouTube through your Google account. That way you can make comments that we can get information from and stuff back from you. So housekeeping chores. The
Yep.
topic for today is uh, Tommy says he's good. Other people says he's good also. I'm still not buying it. And my phrase is, as I said before, I'm a toe dipper. I'm not the guy or the lady that goes to the deep end and does a cannonball screaming at the top of the lungs as it's happening. That being said, that my thinking is, do you have any DIY, do it yourself tips for free that one might do? I'm going to say this to put it in perspective, not that you want to give away the store and what you do, I'm assuming it's complicated and involved. But I told somebody once who asked me, Joe, why are you giving me all this free information? And I said to her, if you like the free version, imagine what the paid version must be like.
There
So
you go.
I'm going to assume that Tommy has some freebies he can share with us doubting Thomases that might hint of some value he claims to have. So Tommy, it's on you.
Well, I really like how you say that. I walk around telling everybody I'm good. It's as soon as I wake up, ask my wife. It's like, man, I'm good.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
well, you know what? It's always good to be with you. Well, most of the time. And but going forward, we always talk about communication skills, public speaking skills, and obviously you've been working on yours. You're getting much better. It's
And the sucking up is not going to help you out here at all, Tommy. So
Well, listen, isn't this our 12th session? Isn't this the 12th round?
this is the 12th round already.
So this is it for the championship fight right here. This
Oh,
is
no,
it.
no, we're not giving up that. So there'll be more of this coming on. So hang on as best you can meanwhile.
Yeah. You know what? It's kind of interesting how we've progressed with this and how people are now doing. I would have to say most people are probably doing more presentations now than they've ever done in their life. Where they felt they wouldn't do it, but being connected on Zoom and having to go on meetings with Zoom, you have to present now. You know what? It's an interesting thing where it's changed, where a lot of times you would go into a meeting and you would sit and just listen in the meeting, but now people see you, they ask you, they want you to get involved with
Hmm.
Zoom. So a Zoom presentation versus a live presentation, maybe we'll take it over there today. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a presentation for the North Jersey Chamber of Commerce on the fact of how do you presume. What I want to talk about today is how do you perform on Zoom the same way you would perform live, right?
All right.
So that's a great question you asked me that, Joe. How does that work? How do you perform on Zoom the same way you would
No,
live?
I'm going to change that. That's not what I'm asking. Let me do it this way. And again, I'm going to go back to my toe dipping episode. I don't care how hot the summer is. I'm on the 3 foot side with the 6-year-old kids dipping my toe in because I want to test it out. So if someone's going to say to you, Tommy, I'd like to consider you to be my coach for confidence for public speaking, but I still don't know who you are. Do you have one or two little clues of value that I might begin on my own to move in that confident position, assuming one can do it, again, being the
Yeah.
introvert that I am?
You know, with the introvert, that's fine, staying. You know what? What I always tell people is it's okay to be an introvert. It's recognize, be aware of who you are. But sometimes we have to step up and be an introvert who does extrovert things. You know, we label ourselves and we get stuck in that label. I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert. I can't because I'm an introvert. Oh, I could never do that because I'm. So we label ourselves, right? And we become that. So what we have to do is we have to step out of that and tell ourselves that I'm going to do extrovert things. I don't care if you're an introvert. You have the ability to do extrovert things. You just have to step up and do it. But this thing right here holds us back by saying, well, I could never do that, right?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but could you give me an example of an introvert thing that could transform into an extrovert thing along with what you're saying here?
Well, everybody has knowledge that they can share that can help someone. So
Okay.
let's say you're the person behind the scenes. And where do you find these people? CPAs, people who are data driven, analytical, those kind of people like IT people, you know, people who are good on the computer and this is where they like to live behind the scenes. But yet they still have to get a message out. Let's say the company says, let's have a group meeting and you're the IT guy and your name is Bill. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, the owner says, hey, Bill, can you fill us what's going on for the last couple of weeks, you know, behind the scenes?
All right.
Now, you can sit there and say, no, I'm an introvert. I'm not filling anybody in. That's not what I do. And your boss is going to say, well, that's terrific. You're an introvert, but I need to know what's going on. So let's do this. Let's get that message together. Let's learn how to create the message and let's learn how to deliver it. Because I'm not going to buy into the fact that you can't talk to me because you're an introvert. That's the story you're telling yourself. No one else wants to hear that.
All right.
No one.
Okay, I get that, and yeah, excuse me. Every time I think I might try to agree with you, I get sick to the. Okay, fine, enough. See, folks, this is why I need your help with comments and suggestions. This guy is slick beyond belief.
Yeah.
Anyway, having
I'll
said
say.
that. I hear what you're saying. Let me take it from a different angle. Excuse me, I get choked up here in terms of what I'm about to say. Okay, you're giving me one example of how to be an extrovert kind of persona, even though you're introvert style.
Right.
Here's a question for you that just comes to mind. What is it that triggers an introvert to be an introvert versus an extrovert to be an extrovert? Is there some qualitative difference about themselves that you can point out and make to them? Does that make sense, the question?
I really think that an introvert, you know, there are shy people, you know, which is fine. People are shy. Again, there's shy people, there's not so shy people. I will tell you this, as a kid, most of my life, I was shy. You know, I had a personality, but I was shy. I didn't like getting in front of people. I didn't like doing things in front of people. And I learned how to fully enjoy this. Now, what you need to do is you have to understand you might not have to, certain things in business, I'll say it to you this way, not just so much public speaking. There are going to be things that you don't enjoy doing about business. For instance, sales, presentations. You might not enjoy it, but plain and simple, you have to shift your mindset and tell yourself that I have to do this.
Right.
This is part of my job, right? I must present myself. I must sell. So it really becomes down to the stinking thinking about what you feel about public speaking, what you feel about sales. You got to shake that up. You got to shake your paradigms and become somebody.
All right.
I like that.
Yeah, I tell you. Thank you, Linda, for your comment. Thank you, Cameron, for your earlier comments. Introvert versus extrovert, brain wiring, home of family origin, culture origin. Now, Tommy, does that make sense to you? Because honestly, it makes no sense to me. What is the lady saying to us?
Well, the way you're wired naturally is your natural wiring, but you could recognize it, become aware of it, and decide you want to do something different. We could always make different decisions that take us to different places.
Right.
I like the home of family origin, the cultural. So what is a culture of a business? What is a culture of a family? And when I explain what culture is a group of behaviors. So it's nothing more than that. When you recognize it, do I behave like the group? families end up behaving a lot alike. And who's the black sheep of the family? Always, when you think about a culture, it's the one that stands out, that's different than the others, right?
Right.
All right. I am an introvert who thrives in sales because listening is so important in sales. Now, fantastic. You raised your awareness to discover where you could succeed at it and what you do. You still have to have the ability to sit in front of somebody, be competent and confidence. And we always talk about that. When you become good at communicating, when you become good at public speaking, it raises your confidence and it raises your competence. And then you can sit back and listen.
Yeah, I think Cameron kind of brings it home also. Do you get anything by staying quiet? Now I'm going to.
It's a great question.
I'm going to make a comment to that, Cameron. Thank you for bringing this one up. That if I don't say anything stupid, if I don't say anything dumb, maybe I don't expose my ignorance. That might work in my favor. So Tommy, how do you address that? I understand what Cameron is saying, but for those of us who don't flow with that, how does that work?
Well, we're talking about public speaking, so let's stick with the public speaking. The sales is one thing. Being a good listener, only speaking when you're asking a question in sales is one of the greatest skills you can have. Ask a question, list, because when we're there, right, we're on a sales call, we're only there to gather information about the other person. Mm-hmm. So that's one way we're talking about sales. But in public speaking, I will say this, the pause or silence is one of the greatest tools that you can use in public speaking, where you make a phrase and you just stop. And you could have your audience wondering where you're going, what are you going to be doing, and hanging on to that, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, Cameron, listening is amazing, and it really will give you everything you need in sales. But if you're going to go out and give a presentation, the idea is for you to be the star, for you to shine, for you to own the room. And that's when it becomes very important. If somebody hires you to come in and present and do a presentation, it is entirely up to you to own the room.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And and Kevin brings up an additional perspective on that, that speaking less and listening more. Do you find that gels with owning the room? Now, I'm going to give my opinion on this. Mm-hmm. That the more I happen to agree with this one more than all the other stuff, which maybe I agree with, maybe I don't. But I like to listen first for two reasons. One, I get a sense of where your head is, because the more you share with me, the better knowledge I gain of you. And then secondly, as you're talking, I'm thinking, I'm observing, I'm collating, I'm doing a lot of things. So by the time I do respond, then perhaps it's more in tune with where your thoughts are expressed as I'm listening to you. Does that work for you as a concept?
Well, I'm all with this again, except that we're going down a road where, are we talking about sales? Are we talking about communication?
Okay.
Or are we talking about public speaking, where someone hires you to come in to do a 45-minute talk? You're not going to be doing much listening. You're there to present. You are the presenter. You are delivering education. You're delivering information. You're going to be motivational or inspirational, right? There's a difference. I understand the idea behind listening, but it's very difficult if you have a room full of 500 people and you're there to give a presentation.
Good point.
Who are you listening to? So, listening during a Q&A where people are interested, that's a different thing. But we're talking about public speaking skills. So if we stick to that, the idea is you need to present for 45 minutes, keep everybody's attention, and there's many, many ways, as you know, to go through that and how you keep people's attention.
Okay. And I appreciate that. I did not pick up the nuance on that. Now, let me say this. I know, Tommy, for example, you combine sometimes humor with your presentation style, and sometimes magic also. Mm-hmm. Now, when I listen to comedians who present, public speaking is a style, whether it's poetry or humor. To me, it's the same thing. If I'm right on that. And there's a phrase called about reading the room. Now, I understand if it's a formal corporate presentation, you give your talk. If you're a teacher, you're a moderator, whatever it may be. But isn't part of public speaking also in part listening, like Cameron said, because you want to read the audience, you want to get a response back. Sometimes people will ask, if there are any questions, feel free to interrupt or share, to get a sense of your thought. So I'm still sensing listening is a part of the packaging. Yes, sometimes maybe. in public
Well,
speaking?
yeah, like you said, if you have people asking questions, you listen to the question and you respond.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different than what we're talking about, you know. So
Right.
that when you think about it, my inner Oprah. Now that's great, Linda, and I want to share this. What I was going to say is that each one of us, and me, Tommy Hilkin, as everybody says, Tommy Hilkin, he's known as a noun and a verb. It's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This is what people tell me, not what I say. But yes, creating a character. When I step on stage, I have this character that becomes bigger than life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I step in this character I created called Tommy Hilkin. You know, and you would think about it, it's one of the most important thing you can do. You know, go into the phone booth and come back out as Superman or Wonder Woman, whatever that character is, whatever it is, that person you can step into and become. I love the fact that you say you channel your Oprah. Great way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Oprah does a fantastic job, but here's my secret behind that. It's okay that you want to do what Oprah's doing, but do it as you.
Now
Don't
that,
mimic and copy Oprah. Watch her gestures, how she does things, but do them as you.
and that's where Cameron turns in, where it's personal brand is more important than ever, and I get that concept. Folks, I want to let you know this was not rehearsed, that I'm not paying Linda or Cameron, heaven forbid, not paying Tommy to coordinate this dialogue.
Oh, I'm paying dearly. I'm paying dearly.
Well, yeah, but get used to it, kid, because I'm going to come back on you again next Monday.
All right.
But Tommy, something you want to say with us to take this home? We're a little bit over, but I think it's been a very engaging episode.
And thank you for everybody who engaged with us today. And yes, I love that fact that we're going to close with this. Yes, step into your Oprah, step into whoever it is that you want to be, that person that you feel is doing a great job. Learn from them, see what they're doing, ask them how they're doing it, and then go out and do it as you. Don't forget that.
Appreciate that. And for those who are listening at this post-production on YouTube, share your comments, please, but you have to first sign into your Google account to make that happen. Have a good day, folks, and enjoy the rest of your week, starting off with us. And stay healthy.